Good afternoon, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Deep True Crime. I'm Manny Rodriguez. My focus is to keep you updated on true crime stories that are going on or have occurred. Here's my number one focus. I want you to learn what to be aware of and what goes on out there, because it's so easy to trust, and sometimes there are people we should not trust. And we continue the Gabby Petito update and the story surrounding Gabby Petito. What a sad, sad story this whole thing has been. Probably fair to say everyone would agree with that if you've been following the Gabby Petito story. Her and her then fiancé start out on a long cross-country trip. Who would have thought one of them would not be returning? And that's why we continue to cover this story, because number one, Brian Laundrie is still on the run. No one knows where he's at. Literally, no one knows where this guy is at. It's like he did a disappearing act. Truth is, I believe his parents know what's going on, and I believe they're helping him, because there's a warrant out for his arrest, but it's not because of the killing of Gabby Petito, but because of using her debit card. And so if he used her debit card to get home from Grand Teton, where he allegedly killed her, I truly believe he did, and he had to use her debit card to live on to get back home, and spent over $1,000, which is quite a bit to get back home, if you ask me. And so how's he living now? Well, I'm sure the parents, Christopher Laundrie and Roberta Laundrie, I'm sure they have some ideas as to what's going on. And in today's episode, I want to share with you the 6 witnesses who saw Brian Laundrie before he went MIA. And so I want to share with you the 6 witnesses right around the time that Brian Laundrie went, around the time that it is alleged that she has died. No one knows the exact day. It's alleged that it was around August 27th that she was killed. That's all we know at this time. Even what we do know is she did die of strangulation, throttling, like moving back and forth. And that part we do know. And we do know that at this time, Brian Laundrie is just a person of interest. And anyone who sees him, please call your local authorities and share it with them wherever. And so I want to share with you those 6 witnesses who spotted him right around the time Gabby Petito was killed. And the first one we want to talk about is Sunny Mason. Now, Sunny Mason, she was an employee at Victor Emporium. And I'm sharing that picture right on the screen. She was an employee at this time, probably still is an employee of Victor Emporium. This is a nice little ice cream shop in Idaho. And this is about 30 miles from Grand Teton National Park, where Gabby Petito was found. Now, Grand Teton National Park is in Wyoming. And so she reported that on either August 25th or August 26th, Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito stopped by the shop. And, Petito and Mason, Sunny Mason, they kind of bonded over Petito's tattoos. You've seen those tattoos? If you've been following my channel, she's got a tattoo here, she's got a tattoo here, she's got a tattoo on this arm as well. And so Sunny Mason and Gabby Petito, they bonded over these tattoos. Now, Sunny Mason did share that she felt that Laundrie was acting a little weird, and basically told Petito to announce that she and Laundrie were engaged. And so this was her exact quote, Sunny Mason. We get a lot of engaged couples, and it doesn't usually come up that way where someone's telling her to do it, right? And she continues to say, it just felt kind of odd. Like it was a reminder to her to be like, ooh, look, we're engaged. Like she shouldn't have to be reminded, right? Now, I had reported on this previously about Rustic Row, which is also in Idaho, in Victor, Idaho. Now, the store owner of Rustic Row, she said that she felt like Gabby seemed happy when they announced the engagement. And so, why would Brian have to kind of tell her to say that? That's strange in its own. That's strange in its own. But Sunny Mason did say right around this time, 25th or 26th, they came into the shop because by what we can probably tell by a timetable, we believe that, and I say we, the internet sleuths, mainly believe that she was killed around the 27th. Around the 27th is when she was killed. That's my thought on that. And so Sunny Mason, one of the first ones to see Brian Laundrie right around this time of when Gabby Petito would be killed. So the second person is Nina Angelo. Now she was a customer at Mary Piglet's. And if you've been following this story, you probably remember this big altercation at Mary Piglet's. And so Nina, she posted on Twitter. About her experience, recalling her experience at Mary Piglet's when her and her husband were there and they saw this uncomfortable encounter. And she revealed that it took her a while to realize that this was the same couple she encountered. And she posted to Twitter. I wanted to show the video, but I'm having trouble with my audio. I'm still new at this audio stuff. Being able to share video audio, sometimes it works, and I don't know. I'm sure there's that one button I'm not pressing. I'm sure there's that one button that I'm not pressing to make it right. So I'm not going to play the video. But she shares, and she goes on. I mean, it's literally a bunch of minutes. So, probably due to time, I don't have time to really share it all anyway. But she shares, she even throws the curse in there. She's like, oh my effing God, I can't believe I didn't, it's now dawning on me. Now, the incident at Mary Piglet's, this was a big blow up on August 27th. When they had a big blow up at Mary Piglet's Tex-Mex restaurant. And Brian Laundrie basically lost his cool. And so she takes to Twitter and she shares, oh my gosh, I cannot believe this. I did not realize this until now. Me and my husband were talking and it dawned on us, oh my gosh, that is the couple that we saw yelling and fighting at the Mary Piglet's, where Brian lost his cool on the store manager, on the hostess, on the waitress, all three females. Maybe he must have a problem with females. Maybe he has a problem with females. And so this incident happened on August 27th. My thought is that's the day she would die. After this incident. By all accounts, Brian lost his cool, went off on the manager, went off on the hostess, went off on the waitress, was upset about their bill. And so this incident happened on August 27th, and this may also be the last time that Petito had been seen alive. May have been. Now, at first they were eating like normal people until the bill. Until the bill. I didn't mean for that to rhyme. That actually rhymes. And Petito, Gabby, she was hysterical. She was crying and begging him to stop. He kept walking out of Mary Piglet's, walking back in. He was very loud. He was very aggressive towards the manager, who did not want to be named in this, towards the hostess, towards the waitress. And this young lady, Nina Angelo, at Mary Piglet's, she shared that, let me see something here. She shared, let's get a picture of Nina. She shared that she's like, we witnessed this. I cannot believe we witnessed this, right? She cannot believe that they witnessed this. And so this is Nina here when she takes to Twitter and shares exactly what her experience was. Like, she's blown away. She's like, oh my gosh, it's now dawning on us that we actually saw her and him fighting at Mary Piglet's. And so she shares that, and of course, she's interviewed. Now, I share the 6 people that, you know, there were other testimonies around the witnesses who may have seen him. There was one guy in a bar, I don't name him in these 6, that says that Brian kind of confronted them with not agreeing with their topic. They're talking about politics, they're talking about guns, they're talking about all this stuff, you know, that you normally don't talk about, right? Unless you're with that particular crowd that agrees with you. And so I did not throw him in the 6 because I questioned that. I questioned it when he took to Twitter or TikTok, and he may be very real. But I did not put him in this top 6 around this time. I did not. Maybe maybe it's extremely accurate. I don't know. But Nina was someone that I did believe her story. I did believe her story in reference to this. I definitely did believe her story when she was at Mary Piglet's and saw them fighting. And in her video, she's like, my husband, he has a photographic memory, and you know, and she shares that, you know, men don't seem to want to follow this stuff. Well, I'm a man. I'm a straight man, and I follow true crime all the way. I'm a big true crime fan, but I do notice that more females are drawn into true crime stuff than males. When I look at YouTubers, I see that more women are doing videos than men. So she does have some, you know, like, hey, my husband could care less about this stuff. He has other things to do. I believe it's her husband. Forgive me if it's just a boyfriend and I'm saying husband. But I definitely believe it was her husband, because I could have sworn all along whenever this story was coming out, it was a man and his wife, a couple eating there, and they gave their take on what they saw. And so Mary Piglet's, that was definitely someone else who saw him. That's Nina Angelo, if I'm pronouncing the middle name right. So the third person, and this one definitely got a lot of attention, was Miranda Baker. I'm pointing to Miranda that you see on my screen. Now, Miranda Baker, she actually picked, her and her husband actually, or should I say, this one is boyfriend. Miranda Baker and her boyfriend, Miranda right here, and this is when she did her video on TikTok, and she said on August 29th around 5:30 p.m. Miranda Baker and her boyfriend picked up a hitchhiker, Brian Laundrie, while they were on their way to Jackson Hole. Now, in Jackson Hole, this is where Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito ate 2 days before. Okay, and this was August 27th. Okay, that was the 2 days before where they were eating in Jackson Hole. And so Miranda says that he was traveling alone, you know, at that point, and he was by himself, and that he said to them, her and her boyfriend, that his fiancé Gabby was back at their van doing some social media stuff, doing some video editing, documenting their trip, and that's why why she wasn't with them. Now, considering this is the 29th, there's a good chance Gabby was not alive at this time. I truly believe that. And so he was traveling alone, and, you know, while they're traveling, and this is also the one that she says that he offered them $200 to drive 10 miles. And of course, to them, they're like, 10 miles? You want to give us $200? That's pretty odd. Yeah, I could like, hey, I'll give you $20 to get me over there. $200? Jeez. But when it came time, like, when he found out, like, when they're like, we're going to Jackson Hole, he was like, let me out here, let me out here, let me out here. He started freaking out. He thanked them, and he was like, let me out right here. I'll find someone else to take him where he needed to go. So he got really strange when he found out Jackson Hole. I don't want to go to Jackson Hole. Probably having something to do with where Gabby was at this time, where he left them. What I don't know, and of course we won't know, okay, where's the van at this time? Why aren't you with the van? That alone is weird. Maybe at one time he's thinking, I'm not going to take the van back. I'm going to leave it here. I don't know. But he ended up using the van to get back home because he arrives home in Northport, Florida, September 1st. Now, when Miranda lets him off, Miranda and her boyfriend, when they let him off, that's where Norma Jean Jalovec gives Brian Laundrie a ride. She's let out of church. She's done with church. And this was like, again, Miranda picks him up around 5:30 and lets him off around the 6ish time. And so around an hour later, after after Miranda picks him up and lets him off, Norma Jean Jalovec picks him up. And by all accounts, she will tell you, Norma, she doesn't normally pick up hitchhikers. She just got done with church. Her whole family, friends, everyone's always like, never pick up hitchhikers. But she did pick up him on this particular day. She felt like something was calling her to give him a ride. Maybe so that she can serve as a witness later. But she was near the Jackson Lake Dam, and she drove Laundrie towards the entrance of the Spread Creek dispersed camping area. And then all of a sudden, he starts freaking out again and even attempted to get out of the moving car while it's moving. And then she kind of jokes with him, what are you trying to impress Petito and act like you hiked this entire way? Kind of joking with him. But he simply responded to be let out of the vehicle now. And so we now know that Petito's body was found at the Spread Creek dispersed camping area. Of course, no one knew that at that time. They wouldn't find her body for like another 3 weeks. She wasn't reported missing until September 11th. And then about 8 days later is when they find her body. And so at this time, of course, it's still unclear, if she had been dead. I think she died on August 27th. I believe she was killed on August 27th. And so that's until something changes, I truly believe she died on August 27th. By following this whole story, that is my thought. So Norma Jean says, I gave him a ride. He acted strange. He wanted out. He jumps out. Practically jumps out. So Norma Jean, that was the 4th witness who saw Brian Laundrie around the time of the killing. Now, the next one, this one gets a little closer to home. His home. Because again, his parents and Gabby and Brian lived at this residence in Northport with Roberta Laundrie and Christopher Laundrie for over about a year or so. And so William and Charlene Guthrie, who you see on my screen, they're neighbors of Laundrie's. And they're the witnesses who said, we find it odd that this family is going to list the family of three: Brian, Christopher, and Roberta, mom and dad and son, are going to head on a 3-day camping trip in this little tiny camper. So now this has, when they said they were going on this camping trip, that's when Dog the Bounty Hunter kind of got the confirmation. Yeah, they actually went camping September 6th. And that's when they found that, like, even Cassie was on this camping trip with them. Even Cassie, the sister, ended up on this camping trip with her 2 kids. Which is strange because obviously their phone is blowing up. Wondering where Gabby is. The family is looking all over for them. And so William and Charlene Guthrie, they say, yeah, we see them, the family, heading on a 3-day camping trip. And in this little tiny camper. Now, this was about 5 days after Brian Laundrie returned home alone without Gabby. And so the Laundrie family bought a new camper in preparation of their camping trip. I don't know when they bought this camper. Okay? I don't know. And so William and Charlene, they tell Fox News, we didn't know it was Gabby's. We just assumed it was Brian's van when he got back with the van. We just assumed, like, hey, Brian's getting out of it. He's driving it. Must be his van. They had no clue at this time that was actually Gabby's van. And they actually still have some of Gabby's stuff. The Laundries do. They still actually have Gabby's stuff, right? Weird. And so, according to William and Charlene, they said, we didn't know much about them at all. Like, they were just to themselves. Now, William and Charlene, they did reveal that they thought it was strange for them to take their 23-year-old son on a camping trip. I mean, I don't know how strange that is, really. Like, why would that be strange? But they thought it was strange that they would take a 23-year-old. What I find strange is that in this little tiny camper, you 3 are going to sleep in this little tiny camper? My guess, that's around the time that they helped him get away. Again, a guess. That's just a guess. Until they can find some actual concrete evidence, they probably started planning things. Because when they even get back, there is a spotting of Brian again after they get back. But I think that's when they were kind of planning things. I could be totally wrong on that particular case, though. The sixth key witness in this, another neighbor, right home. This is close to home. Another neighbor, she only wanted to go by Jen. She talked about how she saw, and I think this is very key. And I remember when they were talking about this. I think this is very key. This neighbor that you see on my screen, she's only known as Jen, she shares that she saw a man who fit the description of Brian Laundrie running away from the home the day that he was reported missing, which is also the day that the FBI were coming to the home to talk to him. Strange, I know. I forget what day that was. Let's see, 13, 14, 15, 17th. September 17th is when he was reported missing. That Friday. First, they tell them he left Tuesday. The Tuesday before that Friday, he went to Carlton Reserve. We've not seen him since. He took the Mustang. He went to Carlton Reserve. We've not seen him since. They have since changed the story and said, no, he actually left on the 13th, the day before. They only changed their story when they were confronted with this new evidence. Strange, I know. This is why there's no doubt that the Laundrie parents know a lot more. And I like what Gabby's mom said. Nicole Schmidt said, she said, if it was me, now granted, if it was the actual incident What would she do? Right now, she's just desperate for answers. If the roles were reversed, what would she do? But Nicole said, if it was me and Gabby came home without Brian, I would have been calling the parents right away. We got a problem. We need to talk about this. Call me back right away. Now, again, if the role was actually reversed, how would she have really handled it? We don't know. But no doubt in my mind, she should say, my wife, and I do believe my wife, because of something that has occurred in the past, I do believe my wife would have been like, oh, you did what? What happened? 911, you need to come over here right now. My wife would have been on that really quick, okay? Because she believes justice should be served. She's going to love her child no matter what. But you did something wrong, you need to pay. So Gabby's mom might very well be the same. We don't really know until the roles are actually reversed, right? But this neighbor, Jen, she said she saw someone running away, walking, the day that they were coming. And she said, this is her quote, he definitely got out right underneath their noses. You know? Where would he have gone? Where would he have gone at that moment? And so what I don't understand is, okay, if he did get away, if he did walk away that day and he went to Carlton Reserve, they should know if he was at Carlton Reserve. I truly believe they should know. But here's the truth. It is an ongoing investigation, so they're not going to tell us what they know. Because if they tell us what they know, then Brian gets this news, he can already concoct this story, right? So as it's an ongoing investigation, they can't really say too much. So those are the 6 people that should know, that they believe, that were witness to what has occurred before this actually happened. And so these are the 6 witnesses that saw Brian Laundrie around the time that Gabby Petito was killed. My friends, I'm Manny Rodriguez. This is another episode of Deep True Crime. If this is the type of stuff you like to follow, please smash that subscribe button, hit that like button, click on that notification bell, and that way you get notified when I upload content or I go live. My goal is to keep you updated on things you should be aware of, and you should always be aware of your surroundings. Because unfortunately, since the beginning of the time, before any of us were born, this world was corrupt. And so my goal is to help you be aware of what is possible out there. I'm Manny Rodriguez. Thank you for joining me another episode of Deep True Crime. And stick around because I'll be sharing another live on the top true crime stories that you should know that has occurred over the last 48 hours. I'll see you soon if you're sticking around.